Okay, so for those who don't know, Harry Hill is a popular host and comedian in the UK known for Harry Hill's TV Burp and You've Been Framed. But in 2012, after the cancellation of Harry Hill's TV Burp, Harry Hill signed a £2 million movie deal with Channel 4, and the Harry Hill movie was released in 2013, and I actually remember watching this movie when it came out in the cinemas. Let's see if it deserves the 3.8 out of 10 it has on IMDb. Okay, so the Harry Hill movie opens with an action-packed car chase scene where we travel through a variety of different locations using some amazing CGI, and it turns out the person he's been chasing this whole time is actually his nan, and she just didn't realize it was him.
Why didn't you let me pass, Nan?
Oh, I thought you were someone else.
This scene is immediately followed up by another incredible action scene. And a scene with Harry and his nan at the dinner table, which features some perfectly integrated exposition.
Harry, love, sit down. It's time I told you something.
Where we learn that Harry has a long-lost twin who was left to be raised by Alsatians. I wonder if this will be important later on. As well as this, we learn that Harry wants his nan to move out.
It's typical for me to bring girls back.
I wonder if this will be important later on. The pair are then interrupted by some vomiting coming from upstairs, which is coming from a pet hamster who in this film is voiced by Johnny Vegas, who I actually once saw in my local Tesco Express. It's quite difficult to tell that Johnny Vegas is playing Abu in this movie. He's very unrecognisable under all those prosthetics. So we find out that Abu is really ill and only has a week left to live, which basically starts the main plot of the movie, which is a trip to Blackpool, which for those who don't know, it's basically the Paris of the UK. However, in a funny turn of events, instead of arriving at Blackpool, they accidentally arrive at a place called Blackpool.
Blackpool? Oh, this is Blackpool.
Really?
Yeah. Look.
Black Pole, home of the Black Pole.
Where they then find a hotel to stay the night. And this is probably a good time to mention this movie is a musical. Because of course it is. This whole time, Harry, Abu and Nan are being followed by some Bond movie-like henchmen, played by Simon Bird from the critically acclaimed In-Betweeners, and a character who looks like Jaws from classic James Bond films. I enjoy this as a reference, however it's really unfortunate to see the stereotype of ugly people being villains' henchmen in this film. Now obviously with them being villain henchmen, they obviously work their way through multiple disguises in this movie, and unsurprisingly the villain is revealed to be Harry's long-lost twin brother Otto, played perfectly by Matt Lucas. Now as clever as it was to reveal this cliche trope this early on in the film,
yes, it's an evil twin thing, yes.
It doesn't make it any less lazy of a trope to use in a film, and it's something we've just seen in a lot of films before. Now, Otto's plan is actually to take Abu and put him through a plastination process.
Plastination?
Yeah. Hang on a minute, how'd you know that? Just a hunch.
As he was the hamster that he never had because his nan left him to be raised by Alsatians. Now going back to our heroes who are still in Blackpool, Abu becomes a giant mutant hamster and our characters naturally come across a race of shell people. In this group of shell people we meet Harry's love interest for the movie, Michelle, who is played by Sheridan Smith, who I mostly know from an incredibly emotional episode in Inside Number 9 where she gives an absolutely incredible performance, but it's nowhere near as good as her performance in this movie.
He's right, Harry. As much as it hurts, we could never be together.
However, we find out that Harry and Michelle are not allowed to be together.
The ancient laws clearly state that interspecies carry-on is strictly forbidden.
Now, on their way to go to actual Blackpool, Harry gets involved in a boxing match with some nice references to Rocky in there, where he manages to win by tickling his opponent. Now, the only criticism I really have with this scene is Harry actually tickles the opponent whilst he's got boxing gloves on, which obviously just doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's quite ridiculous and really takes you out of the movie. Now when we finally arrive in the real Blackpool, Abu is captured during a Daxon 5 concert and replaced by a French fox in disguise.
These guys. I don't see any guys.
After following a trail of hula hoops left by Otto, our heroes find the villain's secret lair and find out that Otto is the villain. In this scene there's some nice references to the works of Bruce Lee and also to the 1993 film Jurassic Park. The shell people arrive to rescue them just in the nick of time. However, Otto still has Abu, and naturally with this film being set in Blackpool, it's only right to have the final set piece take place on the Blackpool Tower. This epic set piece could really rival the incredible set pieces in a lot of the finales of films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It just feels so epic in scale, and you really feel the stakes of this movie. Now, naturally, Nan saves the day in a helicopter.
Nan to control tower. Permission to land on a double yellow line, over.
We get a happy ending in the end, where Otto is arrested, Harry is given permission to be with Michelle, and it turns out Abu wasn't sick all along. And obviously with this film being a musical, the film ends with a musical number. Now, as I said earlier, this film is rated 3.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and I just don't think that's right at all. The film is incredibly well written, it has some hilarious comedy.
Jesus backwards is sausage.
And it also has some very emotional scenes.
Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days, I won't forget a single day, believe me. Days I remember all my life, days when you can't see my.
The action is great from all cast members, especially the incredible Sheridan Smith, and obviously from Harry himself.
You made the right decision.
Maybe I was too hasty.
So, although I don't normally rate movies, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 9 out of 10.